Well, hello everybody and welcome. My name is Roger and this is your daily tarot map for Thursday, June 18th, 2015, using tarot to create the life you want. First off, I want to thank everybody for sharing these videos, for liking them, for subscribing to this channel. As always, I really appreciate your support. I also want to mention that for those of you who use my online scheduler to book consultations, you may have noticed that I've switched scheduling services. Looks a little different than it used to. I'm now using Time Trade, which is much more user-friendly in my opinion. You know, some folks told me that the previous service was a tad confusing, so hopefully you'll like this new one and find it an improvement. So, this week, we continue our work with the beautifully illustrated Alchemical Tarot by Robert M. Place, one of my favorite reading decks. You know, I've enjoyed our work so much with this deck, I'm thinking of possibly featuring another one of Robert's decks next week, but I haven't quite decided for sure. I guess you'll have to wait to see. So anyway, on to today's draw. The three cards drawn randomly from the deck today were the Lady of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the King of Coins. So today we have two cards symbolizing communication, with the Lady of Swords appearing in the first position. Now this is the second time that she has appeared this week, perhaps wanting to ensure that we get the message. Now, the message she brings is that of exploring new ideas and avenues of thought. You know, we see here a young lady playing the lute, singing, sending out her message to others. So maybe you have some ideas that you're ready to share with the world. Now, speaking of ideas, I often see this card as a card of brainstorming in order to generate new ideas. I use this technique all the time, in fact, especially when trying to generate storyline ideas for my fiction. But brainstorming is also a technique that can be used to find your way out of difficulties. You know, additionally, it can help take an idea that you've had and help you develop it more thoroughly and more fully. Now, the idea of new thoughts and conceptions is further supported by our next card, the Ace of Swords. Now, in the Alchemical Tarot, the basilisk, boy, that was hard to pronounce here, represents inspiration and transformation, and he is staring right at the Lady of Swords, perhaps urging her to take the next step along her path of taking her ideas and plans and then figuring out a way to bring them into being. You know, the Ace of Swords is a card of focus, and it advises you to single-mindedly focus on your goal or idea, shape it into something workable, and then share it with the world. Now, the only caution here, as illustrated by our last card, the badly aspected or ill-dignified King of Coins, is that while we do and we should be paid for our art, it should not be our only focus. That is to say, we should not be so focused on money and only on money that your art or work suffers in the process. Creating something that's out of your comfort zone or even against your values just because we think it'll make a buck is usually the wrong approach. For instance, if you love writing and reading science fiction and fantasy, but decide you're going to write a gothic romance because you've heard that gothic romances are hot right now, how long before you lose interest in your project and instead dread every single time you have to sit up the computer and work on that novel, a novel that your heart's just not in? So doing work that doesn't interest us, work that doesn't get us stoked, ends up becoming torture for us after a while. So I guess the message here is that to do work and create art that you love, that you're passionate about, and your passion will be reflected in your work. And oftentimes you'll be surprised when the money then begins flowing in. So the message today for these three cards is: today, allow yourself to think in different ways and come up with new ideas. Determine which of those fires you up and excites you, and then create. Today's advice card comes from the Chronicles of Destiny fortune cards, and the card drawn randomly from the deck is number 37, Polaris. So the Polaris card is the perfect accompaniment to today's draw. This card represents that aha moment when we attain a state of clarity or a hit with a burst of inspiration, perhaps as a result of that brainstorming that we talked about earlier. Now, this card asks you to pay extra attention to any ideas or flashes of insight that might pop into your head today. Who knows? Those seeds could germinate into something big. And that is your daily tarot map for today. If you liked this video, I'd really appreciate it if you click the like button below. And also feel free to visit my website at tarot-dude.com to learn more about me and my work. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Brightest blessings.